Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us once again for another project webinar. My name is David Johnson, CEO of Leo Crowdfunding. We're an equity property crowdfunding platform and delighted to once again be doing a project webinar. So I'll first introduce you to Dal Ray, who is our investor portfolio manager, and he'll be assisting me tonight, as well as looking at the questions as they come in. And he's also been on site in this project, so he's got some on-site experience to add. So good evening, Dal, how are you?
Evening, yeah. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good to have you. And Mr. Ed Morgan of West Country Partnerships. Delighted once again, Ed, you can join us. How are you?
Good evening, everyone. I'm well, thank you. I'm well. Hope everyone's happy tonight.
Excellent, excellent. We'll not dwell on the weather you've enjoyed in Bristol for the last couple of days, so we'll move swiftly on, I think, before we talk about that. Tonight is a project webinar for a project called Church Road in Winterbourne in Bristol, and we're going to be deep diving into this just after we do some of the prelims. So you've just heard there from Ed Morgan, West Country Partnerships. Ed's father is a gentleman called Miles Morgan. He has a business that he's probably had for 37, 38 years now, development construction business in around Bristol. And I've known Ed and Miles must be on now for nearly 5 years. So pleasure to have them on tonight, and we'll be hearing from Ed just in a second. But just to set the scene, and it's always important that we do this before we get into talking about an investment opportunity, because that is what a project webinar effectively is. The fundraiser is pitching for equity investment into their property development project. So Leo Crowdfunding, for anyone who is not aware of the dynamic and why we're hosting this and not Ed, Leo Crowdfunding is an equity property crowdfunding platform, and we operate, as you can see there at the bottom. Leo Crowdfunding is an appointed representative of Sharon Limited, which is authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Pitches for investment are not offered to the general public, and investments can only be made by registered investors on the basis of information provided by Leo Crowdfunding. So this is a private webinar, and only people who have been KYC'd, AML, passed an appropriateness test can actually invest in the project. So capital is at risk, no returns are guaranteed, and it's up to you, the investor, tonight, and to look at the information and make a decision for yourself. So this project, before I hand over to Ed, this is raise 2 of Church Road in Bristol. It's a raise amount of 200,000 as the maximum target. Minimum is 100,000. Projected 25% return investment. Estimated project length 12 months. And the funds being raised is to purchase the site you can see on the right hand side of the screen. And the exit is by way of sale, preferably. It could, though, be by finance. So there is the project will go live for investment this Thursday. That's the 17th of November at 12 noon. So if you like what you see tonight, then you can be ready to make your pledge investment at 12 noon on Thursday. So before I hand over to Ed, Dal, you can keep an eye on the Q&A. And we use the Q&A function, not the chat box, please. Because this is a recorded webinar, we tend to not read out the names of people who have asked the questions, just to protect your anonymity if you so wish. So that's the prelims. Let's get straight in now to the details of this project. And Ed, you want to introduce yourself first of all, your background, maybe explain a bit about what your dad has done as well in the Bristol area?
Sure thing. My name is Ed Morgan. I'm from Bristol originally, and I've been involved in the property and construction industry since I was 16. I left school, went straight into a family business called Beaumont Homes, which was a developer building schemes of 1 to 10 units. We were probably doing say 20 new builds a year in our prime. We built fair few houses over the years, at least a few hundred, I'd say, over a long time. And I've been continuing to work in the construction and property industry since then, and I've in the last few years dipped my toe into a little bit of equity crowdfunding, property crowdfunding. I've differentiated from a lot of other people in my space by being a bit more public and visible with my fundraising, and it's important to me to get to know my investors and hopefully give something back and help them learn about the process. But
you mentioned there, Ed, that you've actually obviously dipped your toe in the crowdfunding. So you actually had done a raise prior. Well, we knew each other, but you'd done a raise on another platform. Your first equity one on that project obviously was built out, successfully returned the funds to the investors. And then you've actually done, this is your fourth raise on our platform. So the first one there, you raised 100,000 to buy a garden in Bitton, and successfully delivered that project and returned the funds to the investors. So that one went very well.
Yeah, sure. So I've had 3 successful crowdfunding projects now, which I'm proud to announce. Not everyone's got a record like that, and that's something I'm keen to protect and improve on. Yeah, it's been a real interesting journey for me. Yeah, happy with where we are.
Fantastic. So as well as the Avon Valley 3 apartments, you've one that's quite close to paying out, Bridge Road in Bristol. I think you're almost there, probably 3 or 4 weeks. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, we've finished the project, as in it's practically complete. The values are strong, so we've finished them to a good standards. They're sold, and we're waiting for sales to go through. But yeah, there's plenty of equity in the project because the house prices went up, and we've kept a tight lid on the build costs. So it's going to be a successful project.
Cool. And Dal, obviously you as the investment portfolio manager are dealing with our investors that have you had the pleasure of giving them a call last week, and they actually had their initial investment capital that bought shares in the SPV in Church Road for the planning uplift phase, and it returned a 50% ROI in 11 months. And you had the pleasure of ringing the investors and letting them know that the money was back in their e-wallets. So that was a nice part of the job you had.
Yeah, absolutely. So over the moon investors. I think this project in particular, and I think Ed, when we spoke previously, is really to get the investors on the journey. So this is very much the first phase, planning uplift. But yeah, no doubt, great return projected at the 50%. A lot of happy shareholders at the end of this project, and I'm sure been speaking to many others previously to this one, looking forward to now the phase 2 of the project. So yeah, absolutely, really glad to have those types of conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah, so you put this one through the process, Ed. You obviously identified this piece of land. Do you want to explain how you identified it, how you sourced it, and then just briefly on the actual planning process? Was it smooth? Was there any hiccups? And sort of where you are now with the project.
Okay, so the story behind this one was a very long time coming. I used to walk past this particular plot on the way to school. Back when I was a lad, I literally used to walk past this plot, and I always knew it was there. It was better kept. It was an orchard, but the chap who owns it, his partner passed away, and he's got older, and he's struggling to maintain the land now. And a few years ago, I was visiting my parents, and I I thought to myself, let's send them a letter. Let's send them a letter, introduce myself, and that was step one. And many months of negotiations, and then a legal process to tie us into a contract. And from there we went through the planning process, and it wasn't easy, never is. We had a fair amount of local opposition. It's a small village, very quaint village with a lot of older generation people, a lot of and there's this is a and I mean new houses in a little village are never popular to the people who live there.
Yeah.
So we had to address their concerns, which we did. We did take on board some of their reasonable concerns and advice, and when required, we reviewed the planning application and made changes. I attended 2 parish council meetings to defend the case for the planning, which was interesting. It wasn't as hostile as I imagined. I mean, there's a core of people there who are what I would call NIMBYs, but then it was nice to see that there was a few very reasonable people who were interested in what I had to say. And
yeah, is the key, to be fair, that you're able to kind of compromise a bit or make changes to the project? So that process of engagement, is that the key to success and getting the local community on board to a project like this?
Yeah, we did negotiate, and we took on board some of the concerns, and I mean, it wasn't exactly what they wanted, because what they wanted was nothing at all. But certainly,
Yeah.
we certainly made it a lot more palatable to them. I mean, it's
yeah
very nice traditional building.
I wonder if you, being a local lad, add some weight to kind of getting this through. Was that kind of part of the discussion, I wonder?
I'd like to think so, but I'm not sure, is the honest
Yeah,
answer.
sure.
No, well, listen, if we never had some challenges to build things, our cities and our towns would be a lot different than they are now. I don't think anybody like votes for more development right beside them. But anyway, watch the time here, and we'll stop in a few minutes for Q&A. And again, you get your questions in, or any comments you want to make, put them in the Q&A box. I can see a couple coming in already. But let's get on with the details of tonight then. So this is the project. It now has planning. You have an option agreement you're about to exercise for 200k to buy the land. So do you want to just quickly explain the village? Obviously is just I suppose northeast of Bristol city. You've already explained that you walk past it, you know the area very, very well. I think for me, it was, having been on the site, it was the views, the location there is just fantastic.
Yeah, it is unique. There's they're rare as hen's teeth, single plots this close to Bristol, the right side of Bristol, this, with views, with a large plot. It would make a fantastic self-build plot, but that's not what we're doing. What we're going to do is we're going to pitch it to people who want that type of house, that unique customizable house, but we're going to do the hard work for them and build them a stunning signature house.
Yeah, and it's fair to say, obviously, listen, we're very early days, but there has been interest in like an off-plan sale, to perhaps someone looking to secure it almost immediately. But obviously early days, and we'll see how that develops. But certainly you're in no doubt there'll be demand for the plot. I think that's the key information. Or the house when it's built, should I say, as opposed to the plot.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
it's a lovely plot. I mean, maybe if this was 5-10 years down the line, maybe I'd keep it for myself and do a self build. But I'm 30. I don't have any children. It's not the house for me.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and just on Bristol, just maybe I'll throw this in for the context. I mean, I was quite surprised. We've done our previous webinars as we have done due diligence on the other projects that you've brought us. Obviously, it's forced us to look at the Bristol market. I was quite surprised by the economy is built mainly around creative media. You have electronics companies, you have aerospace industry there. Sort of 500,000 population and really excellent transport links in terms of not just port, but trains and airport, etc. So, I mean, I know you speak very passionately about Bristol as a city and as a place to have property.
Yeah, sure. It's incredibly strong performing in all ways, really. It's got a great hospitality industry. There's tons of bars and restaurants. We're close to the coast. We have a lot of high-paying jobs, financial services. I believe we're second only to London for financial services in the UK. And then we have science, huge aerospace industry, and it's just a fairly entrepreneurial place. We get a lot of people moving across from the southeast. Because you can live a similar lifestyle at a lesser price tag.
Okay.
Yeah, I've lived here all my life, and I love it. And that's I think that's it's a common theme. You don't tend to have many people leave because it's a great place to be. And property wise, the house prices are they're going up faster than most other parts of the country, but sustainably, not crazy, but very sustainably strong growth. And the rental yields are also incredibly strong because we have high paying jobs and 2 large universities. So we've got a mix to appreciation and yield, which is very attractive.
We often talk about, I'm asking what's the market doing, and for one of our previous webinars, might have actually been the launch of the planning application for this project, but between April 2020 and March 2021, there's obviously been a significant rise in average house price, 309 up to 370. That was like 60 grand of a rise. However, just out October 2022, the house price index shows that the average price is at 394 currently, and only fell 1.1% in the last 12 months. So yes, I know we're into probably an uncertain time at the minute, and for sure there may well be house price reduction over the next number of months and maybe a year or two. Who knows the future holds? But I think this does indicate that other parts of the country have already fallen at the minute. In the last year, Bristol certainly, probably because of some of the things you've mentioned, has actually been proven very, very stable on that. So okay, so you want to just explain then what you're looking to build on this plot? I think the next one as well gives us some stuff, but yeah, if you want to just give a quick overview of this.
Sure. So we're going to have a look at the plot later. The drone's going to show it better than I can describe it. But lovely plot overlooking Greenbelt, and we're just off. Well, not just, but we're very close to the ring road. So you're into the city centre in 20 minutes. We're building a luxury single dwelling on a large plot. It's going to be high specification. we're going to sell it with a premium agent, Savills, Knight Frank, Hamptons, and I'm confident that we'll be able to tie up a sale prior to completion, because people interested in this type of property are interested in customization. So that's the target, and it's going to be interesting project.
Yeah, and just to be sort of clear for the investors, the 200k that you're raising, the maximum raise, is the price of the plot that you have the option agreement. So a successful 200k raise from crowd investors means that you effectively buy the plot and exercise the option agreement.
Correct. Yes, that's right. So
Okay.
the investors have the security of owning the site.
Yeah, okay. Let's just quickly play this now, actually, and we'll go from there. Again, feel free to comment. This is just some drone footage that was taken. So Dal was actually on a site visit. There's a photograph coming up next of him on the site. Is that you waving down there, Dal, is it?
Somewhere there, yeah. It was a spectacular views. It was amazing, really was.
The topography, Ed, if you're standing looking, down to the bottom of the screen, obviously you're on a height and you're just looking out over countryside for many miles.
Yeah, you can see on nice sunny days, you can see all the way across to the other side of Bristol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but the immediate view is over farmland, which is nice.
Yeah, so that gives people just a sense of just the setting. I think it really is quite spectacular. So, okay, well, we're in good time. So let's keep going here, and we'll get a chance for Q&A in a few moments. Just want to explain the actual property, many bedrooms, sort of square footage, etc. Just give some stats.
Sure. So it's a 4-bed property, and square foot circa 2,200. Large plot. It's going to have some renewable energy involved. It's going to have photovoltaic panels. We're considering air source heat pumps, as we know that green energy renewables are a selling point these days, and we've got the space to do it. There's no limitations here. It's going to be a mixture of stone frontage with traditional render on the sides, timber windows, timber soffit and fascia. It's going to be a very high-end house, traditional looking, but obviously all modern inside. It's going to be exciting to interior design it. We're going to really put some thought into it and make it spectacular.
Excellent. Okay. And Dal, you were actually on site. This is actually back in September 2021 when we were actually preparing the initial planning uplift. So I think you enjoyed your wee jaunt from London down to Bristol that day. I think you looked at a couple of sites. But
yeah, so I was lucky enough to get onto the Avon project as well, Avon Valley, prior to this, and the workmanship from Ed and the team was absolutely amazing. It really was, the quality of work. So I'm really looking forward to kind of this project and the finishing of this project. So looking forward to it. Yeah, but yeah, certainly a brilliant site, great views as Ed mentioned. Certainly different to kind of what I'm used to in London. But yeah, the views were incredible. They really were. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this raise.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so let's just get on then with the financials. I think is the key part. So what you're offering, Ed, similar to the other projects you've actually obviously succeeded on and delivering for investors. The maximum target is 200,000. The minimum investment amount is £100. Each share will be £100. So there'll be 2,000 shares issued by the SPV. The projected return on investment is 25% per annum. So you do anticipate, all things being equal, all things going well, to build and possibly sell within a year. Obviously, the sale is the unknown quantity, legals and all the rest of it. So if it does drift beyond the 12 months, you're offering a 25% per annum return. So you're hoping to complete around about November 2023, and you're still minded to obviously sell the property. That is the exit for the investors, correct?
Correct. Yes, that would be number one. But there's always the possibility that market would dictate that to protect the investment, we would refinance, maybe even short term. But yeah, there's always targeting the sell, but we know how to protect an investment. We'll do that.
Excellent. Okay, so if we take the right hand side of the screen, effectively that 200,000 at a 25% per annum would be 50,000 back to the crowd investors. That represents 16.98% of the forecasted net profits. So that's how we express that 25% ROI is a 16.9% profit share. So on the left hand side, Ed, you've listed out obviously the key figures: 200k purchase plus obviously stamp duty and acquisition costs. Build cost there you've put around about 400,000. I suppose the big question investors are going to ask: how have you mitigated against material rises, labor costs? That figure that you've put in to date, is that conservative? Have you contingency, etc.? Can you answer that for the investors?
Yeah, sure. So there's always a 10% contingency. I run a construction company myself, so it will be managed as lean as possible. We don't have an external contractor, so there's no external contractor's profit, and we don't have the issue, which is very real, of the contractor throwing a wobbly, leaving the site, leaving the project in disarray. The construction is always all through myself, through one of my companies. Be a fixed priced JCT to that figure, and we do this for a living. So I'd say I'm the best man to keep that on the straight and narrow.
Sorry, David, your mic.
Yeah, you do your land purchase cost, and then you do your build cost, and then your finance cost, because you got senior debt obviously in place and indicative terms offered on that. Your estimated profit is on the bottom there, just shy of 300,000. So plenty of profit in the deal, and plenty of fat, if you like, if the market does drop a bit, or if you don't quite reach your projected GDV. You're comfortable, Ed, that, and we've discussed this, that there's plenty of there's plenty of fat in it for the investors.
Correct. Yeah. The project would have to really fall back on itself to get to a point where we're at equity damage. There's a very large profit margin which we've created through the planning process. We've purchased we will be purchasing the land below market value, because I agreed to buy it subject to planning. That was part of the deal with the vendor. He didn't want to go through the hassle which of battling with the council for 12 months, paying all that money. So we negotiated a purchase price which was in our favor. So yeah, it's there's a good profit margin, and I think it's a safe raise.
Yeah. Safe as in terms of development, with all the risk that goes with development. It's obviously safe in that context, just to choose the words carefully there. But yes, in terms of what's important to highlight is that the crowd investors obviously have a priority share. So the first profit that comes in needs to be 50,000 profit to get the investors reaching their target ROI. So effectively, as long as you and the project make 50,000 profit, the investors get their target 25%. Anything above that, obviously, you're keeping up until 294,000. If it exceeds that, then obviously there's a pro rata split with the investors. So obviously this is all laid out in the equity offer document, where you'll be able to look at the finances in more detail, break them down. There's all the appendix, obviously showing some valuations that have been done by local estate agents, also a RICS valuation, and also some information around the planning, etc., and things like that. So the project is on the platform now as View Deal. You can go to the homepage, click on the thumbnail, and then if you are interested and you think this is an investment you're going to be interested in doing, I encourage you to leave an email address, put in the amount that you may be interested in investing. This does not secure the investment. This is simply just an indication that you're interested, and then we'll stay in touch with you. Dal can call or email, whatever you prefer, to answer any questions and just give you any updates. So it is important to do that if you are interested in being part of this project. There's also, Dal, the forums that I know you keep an eye on, and you and Ed will be bouncing back and forward answering questions, and everyone can see the questions, everyone can see the answers. So I know we like that, Dal, in terms of being able to communicate with investors.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just in terms of transparency, feel free to, you probably just see it just where your arrow is, just to overview financials, and then team, and then you've got the forum section. So feel free to ask any questions. Myself and Ed will answer those, or you can come through to me directly on my email, and you'll get that information a little bit later on. So yeah, just give everyone that information. We'd like to share it as much as possible.
Brilliant. So the project is View Deal, currently on the platform, and we are due to go live at 12 o'clock this Thursday. So again, just for a summary before we go to Q&A, this is the View Deal. It's a development project. Target raise minimum 100, maximum 200, minimum investment £100, and looking at a 25% return on investment. So encourage you to go to the equity offer document, download it, do your research, ask your questions, and we'll do our best to get any information that we can back for you. So any sort of Q&A then, Dal, coming in there?
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions, which is good to see. So what changes did you have to make to the planning application?
So changes to the planning application were a reduction of glass. We had a large glass atrium to begin with, which was, although very nice, it wasn't particularly traditional looking. So we've had to make the building look more traditional, and we tweaked the positioning of the property. So on the plot, that was just something that the council preferred. They just preferred a particular positioning of the plot, which we did. We moved it around.
Excellent. Thank you, Ed. You've built many houses over the years. But have you got any direct experience of high-end market?
Experience in high-end to this level, yes. So with my previous business, we built 3 houses fairly similar to this in the village next to this village. which are, I mean, this was in 2015, so the values were different, but they're now reselling at a similar price point, and they were very popular. And I'm actually taking some of my ideas from that project because it was very well received.
Great.
So yes, to this level.
Thank you, Ed. How long is the build phase expected to last?
So we expect the build phase to last circa 6 months, 6 to 8 months, 8 months being worst case scenario.
Perfect. How will you plug the funding gap if you raise less than the maximum amount of 200,000?
So we can put money in ourselves. We can raise money through the senior lender if necessary. There's two options there.
Is the valuations available, which we can see?
There is, yes.
Yep, great. I can send that across, not a problem. It's also available on the equity offer document, I believe, under the appendix. And I can also send that across if need be, not a problem. What's the access to the site like? I noticed on Google Maps Street View, the Church Road is a narrow street and the driveway to the plot looks very narrow too. It also looks a little steep to get into the plot from the street.
Yeah, that was one of the key what's the word, constraints that we had to address in the planning stage. So we engaged a transport and highways consultant to design a access for us to make sure we had the required visibility displays, and that was we designed that to the satisfaction of the local planning, the highways official who works on behalf of the local council. So there will be a fair change to that original entrance. That's all been bulldozed and reshaped, remodeled, now informed to make a proper entrance.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ed. Yeah, that's all from the questions.
Okay. Any last thoughts, Ed, before we wrap up?
I'm just happy to be here. Hopefully, I can answer any questions in due course. Send me an email. Send email to Dal. Happy to discuss anything on the project. Like I said, I grew up in this area. I know a lot about the project, and I'm passionate about this piece of land. It's something that I've been walking past. Well, not so much anymore, but something I walked past for 15 years, 16 years. So it's important to me, and I'm gonna make sure we do it right.
Thanks, Ed. I think we've just got one question just quickly come in. So
yep, that's it.
when will you start marketing the property? At what stage of the build will you be looking to get an end buyer involved?
I would say that we're going to try and tie up a buyer fairly soon. We will engage one of the prime agents, and we'll be looking to market it to a buyer who's looking for a unique property, and that want to be involved at an early stage so they can make choices and customization, and we can also achieve some more certainty by making them pay down payments. So earlier the better, really, for everyone.
Excellent. Okay, so thanks so much, Dal, for those questions. Really good questions there, everyone. Thank you. So just to remind everyone, you can go to the homepage now. You can go to the view deal, click the thumbnail. You can read the pitch pages, but then you can download the equity offer document And a lot of what Ed's talked about tonight, the valuations, all of those are there in the appendix, and of course can be supplied. So we do go live for investment on 12 o'clock. And not in any way meant to be intended as a fear of loss or a sales pitch, but Ed, I think you do hold the record on the platform. I think Avon Valley was it funded in about 2 hours, and again, that's not trying to create a fear of loss. Do your due diligence, read the information before you decide to invest. But certainly on some previous projects, I think you're quite a popular developer, and investors like your track record, and we look forward to this raise going live on Thursday, and you've been able to engage with the investors. So anything else, Dal, I've forgot about or haven't mentioned? I don't think so.
No.
Or is there? Yeah, there was something else in my head, but I just can't think of what it was. But yeah, so and again, anyone wants to reach, I know what it was. I know what it was. It was just to remind everyone, this is Dal's email address. So dal@leocrowdfunding.com, investor portfolio manager. Any questions at all, particularly regarding the onboarding process? You cannot invest unless you're investor ready. You've KYC, AML, passed the appropriateness test. You'll not be able to actually make an investment if the raise reaches its minimum or its max. So you need to make sure that that is done, and Dal can take you through that process. So that is us for tonight. Ed, thank you once again. Superb as usual. Good thorough overview of the project. I hope the attendees who've joined found that useful, answered their questions, and we look forward to Thursday and the project going live.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Thanks, Dal, again for your help. All the best, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.